Welcome to Cinema 5D on the Go. Moving conversations about moving images with filmmakers and industry leaders. Brought to you by Hedge for Mac, Rode Microphones, G Technology, and Zachtler, in association with Ford. This is your host, Nino Leitner.
Welcome to this episode of Cinema 5D on the Go, this time with filmmaker extraordinaire Drew Gardner. Hello.
Hello there,
Did
Nina.
I just oversell you there?
I think you did a bit.
Really?
But I'm not going to knock it. You know, you've got to take your take your compliments where you can get them these days. When you get past 50, you're not picky. Well, I'm not anyway.
So
for the compliments, that is.
We're meeting here in Germany. What have you been up to lately?
Well, it was kind of nearly 3 years ago. I fell into the world of 360-degree video. Now, I say 360-degree video because some people get really quite particular when you call it virtual reality.
I heard that. We did a blog post on something recently, and everybody was complaining that we called it a VR camera.
Well, I'm sorry to all of you people who say it's not VR. Well, you can be picky about it, but I think that the most important thing is you talk about the whole medium in a way that people who aren't into it can kind of grasp it. So, okay, it might not strictly be VR to those picky people out there, but as far as I'm concerned, if we can get people who don't know what 360-degree video is or really understand what VR is interested in the medium, then I'm not against that, as annoyed as it gets some people. So yeah, I've been I fell into, first I did 360 stills, which I really enjoyed.
Who wants them? I mean, where do you display them? You know.
Well, it's really simple, and
you print them out.
No, we don't print them out. That's for like dead trees and stuff, you know. I worked out.
But you are originally a photographer, right?
I'm originally a photographer. 37 years, man and boy. Long time, guys. And like anything in life, if you want to keep it interesting, you've got to keep changing around a little bit. So I was a stills photographer for the first, 20 odd years of my career, and then the 5D came out, 5D Mark II, and I was like, oh wow, this is fun. And that kind of sucked me into the whole video world, and video is a huge part of what I do. Some small documentaries, lots and lots of corporate work. So that's how I got into got into video, and then I started to become aware of 360-degree video, and I thought, after playing with it for a little bit, I realized that it was going to be enormous, because I have a problem with print, be it billboards or be it newspapers or whatever, and that's newspapers in particular.
Problems?
Problems in that not so many people are reading them, particularly young people aren't reading newspapers.
Or watching TV.
But what they all are watching and what they're all looking at all the time are and our friend the iPhone, now smartphones, completely changed all that. And so I made a decision around 3 years ago that whatever I did had to work on one of these, otherwise I wasn't going to do it. Simple as that.
Interesting.
So it's, how can I...
So you're actually actively saying no to TV jobs?
Well, Nino,
you're like, no, I'm not doing that. You're not putting it on a smartphone.
So funny. Okay. So I'll let me qualify my previous statement. I decided to make it the thrust of my business to only make things that worked on a smartphone, okay, or a tablet. I mean, of course, I'm a freelancer with children to feed, food to put on the table, mortgages to pay. So I'll if it's legal and vaguely decent and hopefully honest, I will get involved in it. But I've decided to make the whole main thrust of my my business 360 video and 360 stills as well.
Cool. So, and how does that work? I mean, where are they displaying that? I mean, is it all, I know Facebook uses VR now quite a bit, for example, or YouTube, but that's one of the things, it's still hard to explain to a lot of people. I mean, once you've experienced VR, it's pretty cool and people like it and get into it, but I mean, like this show is a good example, like for people who watch this, who hear VR and have never tried it, they're probably like, oh my God, not here we go again, because it's like, they haven't tried it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is it's giving people a whole new experience, and whether it's for storytelling, and the New York Times are doing some amazing stuff with 360-degree video VR. Sorry to upset you guys who don't like using that, but anyway, they're doing some amazing things. They're telling some stories of the journey of refugees. That's on the really quite strong storytelling side, but also for commercial clients as well. You can do things which could never have been done before, and you can give people really truly amazing experiences and show spaces and businesses in this really dynamic manner, which you've never been able to do before. And I think for me, the absolute gold standard for storytelling with 360 video mixed with stills is the Inside Abbey Road Studios on Google, where you get to play with a mixing desk, you get to move around, you click on a whole load of things. Cool. And I would say that, well, when I saw that, I'm like, that's the future. I mean, you have to have huge admiration for Google for what they do and how they push the boundaries. And so, I just want to be involved in that, really, of doing really cool things.
We can show this clip to the audience, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, I'll kind of wave a phone ineffectually at the audience now, just so they can get away, just so they can get some sort of idea of 360-degree.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. What on earth I'm talking about.
Why is he talking about VR in a car?
Why is he talking about VR?
Video, sorry.
We have this kind of, which camera would go? That one, actually. That's one. You see a girl kind of walking on a plane wing, and you can look up and you can look down, and you're hovering over the engine of a plane that's
seen
floating
that one.
here. Yeah. So it's what I love about 360 video VR. I'm sorry, I was baiting people now. What I love to do is to take people to places they couldn't ordinarily go to, and to give them an experience that they couldn't really have in any other way,
But I mean, you have to go there as a filmmaker, unless you do like if it's like a computer game VR experience where it's really, just, I mean, I've experienced HTC Vive and Oculus Rift and all this stuff. It's quite amazing stuff that's really out there. But how do you go about shooting this stuff? I mean, you basically have to hide completely, right? I mean, do you just put up the camera and leave? There's not. I mean, honestly, I'm still starting with all this, and it's sometimes I'm like, how?
Yeah, if I said it didn't give me sleepless nights, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, it's having, the first thing you have to do if you're shooting 360 video is to not think of filming a scene, but to think of breathing a scene in. So you have to be really aware of what's in front of you, what's the side of you, and what's above you and what's beneath you. And then you've got to work out the best way of positioning the camera to capture all of these angles in an interesting way. So that has a couple of challenges. Until now, the mainstream way of capturing 360 video has been with GoPro rigs. This can be with 6, it can be with 7, or it can be with many more. But
why is that different in the amount of cameras you would use?
Because the amount of cameras you use affects the parallax.
Okay, so the more you use, the less you have the parallax effect, which
basically
means the distortion, the overlap is easier to generate in the computer.
More or less.
Compute. Yeah.
People will email you and say that's not true, but all I will say is very simple. I mean, if they're in a big ring, then that can cause more. That can be more difficult. But if in the classic cluster, a 6 camera rig will inherently suffer from more parallax issues than a 7 camera rig.
Okay.
So that's been the way for a long time. And then Ricoh came out with a very interesting camera called the Theta, which is a 2 lens system. Then Kodak came out with something, and then Samsung have come out with something, and now even Nikon, or Nikon for those of you in the United States. I always love this building. It's really something else.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's like 3 L's next to each other.
It really is.
The Rhine.
The
And there's a cathedral.
Very cool.
You should do VR up there.
I've thought of that. It's a long way to go, and I never have enough time when I do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 2 camera setup has changed the game a little bit, in that it's kind of democratized 360 video, in that it has enabled people to do 360 video without endless hours of stitching, where it captures the whole scene on one sensor, but with 2
But I mean,
lenses.
the more cameras you have, the more stitching there is to do, right?
Well, yes, but you get to better select where the overlap is.
Okay.
So you can more controlled
I see.
fashion
So if
choose where to put the overlap to a degree,
I
so
get
you
it.
can have it so it doesn't cut it in a straight line, but cuts it in a jagged line. So,
Yeah.
for instance, with keyframing as well, you can then track where somebody's head goes, so it doesn't get sliced in half.
So you can basically decide if you go through that person or
Yeah, exactly.
you just go around them.
Whereas the two lens system that has, I've been on the Zeiss booth today, my good friends at Zeiss, and listening to all of the lens professors talking about wide angle lenses. I kind of know what they're talking about, because when you see the 2 lens solutions, one of the real big challenges they have are the chromatic aberrations on the edges of the lens, because it's difficult to get these lenses which are such wide angle and not have chromatic aberrations. So that's one of the challenges with a 2 lens system.
But why has nobody released a camera yet that, except for Nokia, I guess, that really... Oops, sorry about that.
It's all right, no worries. You won't kill me. You won't. I don't think.
I'll try. that like one camera system that automatically stitches everything. Why do you always have to do that?
So the Nokia's really interesting.
Ozo.
The Ozo. I mean, hats off to the team at Nokia as we say in Britain, for making it. 'Cause I think it's a really interesting and brave move, and it, that like every 360 degree camera, there are limitations, and there are limitations.
Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it. I want to try it. I went to a rental house in the United States, Flug. I may be saying it incorrectly. It's just kind of abbreviated to Flug. And they specialize in 360 degree rental. They're kind of ahead of the curve a little bit. And they've got one of the Nokia Ozos there. And I got really kind of excited about it. And then they pointed out some of the limitations of it, that you always have to orient the camera in the same direction.
And I heard that the distance between the eyes is not the same everywhere, which is weird.
I haven't heard
so
that
at the
one.
back, like, there are no cameras at the back. I don't know if you noticed that. Which means that the side ones, because we did something on it at NAB, also on the go, on the couch actually, because the side ones basically have to interpolate everything that's behind them, because there is nothing behind them anymore. Yeah. So it's weird.
So there's, I mean, I wasn't aware of that one, but there is there are other things with it as well. Where
is your hotel on this side of the Rhine?
Well, it is this side of the Rhine, but it's not a hotel. I'm an Airbnb person.
I'll drive around here.
At the moment, we just drive to. You've done it. I'm not far away. It's like 5 minutes.
Okay, cool.
So where were we? Yeah, it also has an exhaust pipe at the top, an exhaust vent, and you always have to orient the camera in with that direction with the exhaust pipe at the top.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a big deal, but sometimes you're just not able to do that.
Yeah, of course not.
And also, I hear, though I haven't checked the specifications myself, folks, so check this yourself. Don't take my word and the word of the guys at Flug. They did seem to know what they were talking about. They said it's also limited to 30 frames a second, which, was a bit kind of...
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you want to have augmented reality there, well, there you really want more than 30 frames a second, right?
Exactly.
Like 50 or 60 or something.
Exactly. So I think it's a good opening gambit, and I think it does some really cool stuff. But I think that, we're just at the beginning of the VR adventure, guys, with cameras. I think the offerings from, to some extent, Ricoh, but with Samsung particularly and Nikon, their two lens systems are going to be very good because they're going to get lots of people just kind of using it and having fun with it. And I think that's the important thing.
What do you think of the Kodak?
Kodak. You know what? Actually, I must admit I haven't tried it. And why haven't I tried it? It's because it doesn't quite do full 360. You kind of need two of them stuck together, and to me at that point it's kind of defeating the object a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. You have two different cameras and you stick them together.
And hey guys, if you're out there and you're making it work for you, someone out there, and it works, then great. I'm not knocking it. I mean, I'm not, though I have gear, I'm not too sort of hung up on it.
What's the typical stuff you shoot in 360? I mean, for which clients, and how do they use it?
Well, I shot just last month? No, the year is racing ahead of me.
Yeah, it's like end of anyway,
in June, I shot the women's 8 Olympic rowing team who went on to win gold at the Rio Olympics. Cool. Yeah, for Sports Illustrated. Check out the video on the website. And I was assisted by Brad, whose name was it Brad? No, it's Chad. Sorry, Chad. My memory for names is in fact, I'll find his name now so I can name check him because otherwise that's really bad manners.
So you filmed the women's Olympic team?
Yeah,
the rowing team. Nice.
Chad Horn.
Yeah, you had the camera in the middle of it, or?
No, I didn't. What I did, I pitched the camera off the edge of the boat, and I think that a lot of the I wouldn't like to use the word magic, but I will be a bit sloppy and use the word magic, of really good 360 video is how the camera is mounted. And I think that there's an awful lot of bad 360 video out there. I reckon 90-ish% is pretty poorly done. And I think most of that comes down to people not thinking quite where to mount the camera. So I decided that I wanted to pitch the camera over the side of the boat because I wanted to get that sensation of the water racing underneath you. And I didn't just want to see the coxswain and the first rower. I wanted to put the viewer alongside. So you're riding alongside this amazing thing as it's cleaving through the water.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And please do check it out because the coxswain, she got some really exciting news, which is her fiance had just been selected for the men's rowing team, and she got the news while she was on the water.
Oh, wow.
And the whole boat just goes crazy.
Well, she was like on her phone.
Yeah, she got a text from her mom as they were training, and they all go crazy.
And the other was, why are you texting? Why are you not rowing?
She's like, oh, wait, she says, please just check it out. It's a lot of fun. They were really lovely girls as well, women.
That's cool. How did you protect the cameras from the water? I just recently shot a extreme sailing thing in France, and with red cameras and all kinds. Yeah. So, and one of the biggest issues was, how do you protect these cameras from the water, because they are so big. If you put them in the underwater housing, they will overheat and everything. Yeah.
I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, you just kind of, you can get waterproof housings for GoPro rigs.
Yeah.
And in fact, the Nikon is waterproof, which is really exciting.
This key mission thing.
This key mission, which I think the only real, I haven't tried it yet. I haven't been lucky enough to try it though. I hope to put that right soon. I've got a a project which I want to try with it, which involves water.
Yeah.
But yeah, very there's a big benefit from it. You've got to kind of take a bit of a chance with 360 video, because I think if you want to get impressive footage, you really want to try to take the viewer to where they can't go.
Can't go. And how do you monitor it? I think that's one of the
You
biggest
can't.
issues. It's like everything blind.
Yeah, it's kind of fly and be free, my beauty.
Great.
It's a matter of
But then when you're done, what do?
you say a prayer. Even if you're not religious, you say a prayer. You hope it's worked.
You go home and hope it works.
Well, what you do, I mean, okay, typically, just to be serious about monitoring, if you have time, and frequently, you know what it's like, Nino.
You don't.
You don't. You'll get something like a little Zacuto finder, and you just plug round the rig, and you check the exposure on each camera, and then you make any adjustments from there, and then off she goes. You need faith.
I heard that, didn't Parallax introduce something at NAB, was it? Where they have something like iPads or something tethered up to, and you can actually do this.
So,
like a pre-stitch thing.
Maybe I should look into that, but
yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
But I would guess that they're using the wireless connection on the GoPro. And one of my little secrets, guys, is I use that for the hand remote control, because I can trigger all the cameras at the same time.
Okay.
So I will go manual monitor, and then I will start, because I know that all those cameras, and when I do to sync them, I know they've all started at about the same time, and I know I'm looking at that particular time in, and I'm not hunting for that elusive clap on the camera which started like 30 seconds later or something. So I tend to use the handset.
Okay, that makes sense.